Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. It's another spooky season
Yay! The spooky
episode.
vibes are continuing. We're here.
Yes, we're here for it, and today we're gonna keep it, as Casey said to me earlier, real cash. Just a
Mm-hmm.
cash, spooky discussion about a few different things. We just have some general topics floating around. If you tuned in to last week's episode, like last half of last week's episode, where we talk about death, we're gonna do that again.
Yes.
So, if you don't want to talk about death or spooky things, then this is not the episode for you. But we talked about Disney last time, and so this time I thought we'd talk about Universal because that's our other favorite theme
Yes.
park to
Our
visit,
second favorite,
and
yes.
the one we've visited the most because it's cheaper and it doesn't take as long to get to. I'm a sucker for anything behind the scenes. Any
Tidbit
little
fun.
stories and tidbits that you can give me to munch on, I am all for. So, Casey, you said you had a tidbit. Do you want to start with your tidbit?
Oh, well, I mean, I know we were talking about we before the podcast started, we were talking
Mm-hmm.
about like hauntings with like shows and stuff, which made me think
Mm-hmm.
about I actually learned this recently. So the movie The Exorcist. So the girl that
Mm-hmm.
plays Reagan. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a part in the movie where she's like supposed to be like strapped to this board
Mm-hmm.
and it's supposed to like flail her around, right? Without like fully moving her body. Okay,
Yeah.
but so in the movie, the board is like broken and she breaks her spine on the set of the movie and is like crying in pain. And I'm pretty
Uh-huh.
sure that was I don't know if it was like actually in the movie, but I'm pretty sure it was, but like I was like, "That's crazy." Like, this girl broke her spine being in The
For a
Exorcist,
movie.
yeah.
Being in a movie.
And she was,
Yeah.
like, young. I was like, "Dang, that's crazy." I saw that on
Wow. That
TikTok,
is
so I don't know
crazy.
if it's actually true. If anybody wants to fact check me, um, you can let me know, on our Instagram, but I I feel like TikTok's pretty reliable, you know?
Yeah. It's the third most reliable source on the internet.
Yes, next to Reddit and Wikipedia.
And Wikipedia.
That is from yours truly.
Okay, so I did pull up a couple different articles about like kind of tidbits of particularly scary movie sets, things happening that were weird. And since we talked about The Exorcist, I'm pretty sure there was one. So apparently, the original Exorcist, the one in
Yes.
1973, apparently there was like a lot of creepy things that take place, which I imagine when you're making a horror movie just kind of comes with the territory.
Mhm.
But apparently, a lot of people died like while making the movie, like very unexpectedly. So apparently,
I think I've heard something like that.
yeah. So one of the actors who plays Burke Dennings. I don't know who any of these characters are because I've never seen half of these scary movies, so bear with me that I don't know who any of these people are. But apparently, he died a couple of days or a few days after he wrapped filming for his part, which is
Dang,
weird.
that's creepy.
Yeah, and then a special effects person and a security guard also died while the movie was in production.
Wow.
And the entire set burned down
Oh
for
my
no
god.
reason. Just like set on fire, and they were like, "Oh, guess we have to I thought I would take that as a sign
To
to not
not
rebuild the
yeah.
set.
We're done here. Thank you.
Yeah, and I guess apparently everybody got so freaked out that the director, William Friedkin, had an actual priest come
Oh
out
my
and
god.
perform an exorcism.
They're like, We need an
And
exorcism for the exorcism movie." Yeah.
yeah, like
What the
what?
heck? That's so crazy.
And apparently, when it was first released in theaters, several audience members had heart attacks. So
Wow.
it was not only killing the people working on the movie, but it was also killing the people watching the movie,
Yeah, I mean,
which is so weird.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I like this article I'm reading. It has one about Psycho, the original one in 1960. It says Psycho scared the bejesus out of people back in 1960, and I love when people say
But
bejesus.
Jesus.
Bejesus. So for Psycho, it says during production, Myra Jones, who was the body double for the lead actress, can't talk, was murdered on set.
Oh my god, what?
Yeah.
What the what?
Yeah, it says a handyman named Kenneth Dean Hunt, who was also working on the film, carried out the murder and then told police he had done it to impress Alfred Hitchcock, claiming that he was obsessed with the notorious suspense and horror director.
I don't know if that's the best way to impress him. You might
Yeah,
get a restraining order against you.
and thrown in jail.
Right. Like,
And
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do from jail? He's not gonna talk to you from prison.
yeah, no.
What
And
the
then
heck?
apparently following this murder, Hitchcock had gathered everybody, and it says it appears we now have all the motivation we need to complete this film. Again, if somebody was murdered, a full stop.
Right. Like, we're
Like,
done. This movie is
yeah,
canceled. Sorry.
nope, it is what it
Yeah.
is.
We'll write another movie. I'm sure you'll be
Yeah,
fine.
well,
Like,
it'll
don't
now
get
be
me
a
wrong.
short
It
film.
is a very good movie. I'm glad it was made,
Yes.
but like, that's creepy.
Yeah. And then, of course, The Omen, the 1976 one, has a bunch of weird stuff happening around it. But I guess the son of the lead actor committed suicide at the beginning of filming.
Oh my
There was
god.
a crew member seriously hurt in a car accident while driving to set.
Oh my
The scriptwriter's airplane was struck by lightning when he was
Yeah,
on his
no,
way to the
that
set.
done, done, done.
And then it says the airplane in which uh two of the producers were traveling was also struck by lightning. So
Okay, at
two
that point,
planes
like,
struck by
yeah,
lightning,
what is the
a
odds of
car
that?
accident, and a suicide. Like,
No, yeah.
that's
That if that's not
no.
the universe telling you full stop, all capital letters, like, I don't know what is. Like, why would you like, that's terrifying.
Yeah, and then on top of all that, I guess the crew had a private airplane to go from location to location, but apparently when that plane took off at one point, I don't know, it doesn't say when in production, but it took off with 11 people inside for this film. It crashed into a road,
Oh my
hit a
god.
car, and then crashed into a different vehicle, and everybody involved died.
That is
That's
that is
no.
nope.
Full stop.
We're done here.
Yeah,
Absolutely
we are no
not.
longer we're no longer filming. We will not make this movie. We are just going to leave it in the past and never talk about it ever again.
Yeah, no.
Like, absolutely not.
Mm-mm. I feel like I know we're talking about movies, but
Mhm.
I feel like Universal has to have like probably like a bunch of ghosts or like haunted places cuz like
Oh,
that place is real old.
100%.
Like with all
Yeah.
those back lots. Like sometimes
And
like
then the
even
amount of fires they've had on those
yeah. And
backlots.
like it's just kind of creepy back there anyways. Like I couldn't imagine like get that like vibe where you're like, I feel like there's just ghosts hanging out here. I'm sure there are. Zach Bagans, if you're listening, you should do an episode at Universal Studios. Um, I also love you, and I want to go to your haunted museum, which I don't know how I haven't been there. It's like it's in Vegas. It's not that far.
Oh my god, and you go to Vegas all the freaking
I
time.
know. I want to go to it. Because they have a show on it now too. Um, it's just like Zach Bagans haunted museum, I think. This is free promotion for you. You're welcome. You should watch it. I haven't watched it yet, but it looks good. Um, I love spooky stuff like that. They actually did an episode in Lake Havasu.
Oh.
Yeah, which is like close to where I live. And I was like, dang, he was so close to us. I love
Yeah.
him. Yeah, apparently the London Bridge is haunted, if anybody wants to know.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I've been, and it's creepy.
Yeah.
It's very creepy. Oh, you know what? Speak since you brought up London, which means I have to bring up my trip to the UK. Specifically, when we were in Scotland, we did the Edinburgh Underground tour, and it basically gave us a really cool history of basically what was underneath Edinburgh, which is the capital of Scotland. So we did this tour. It was very last minute, and the tour guide was amazing, by the way. I don't remember her name, but she was great. So they take us, like, when you're standing in Old Town, you basically go down the hill and into, like, it's now, I think, a set of apartments or shops or something, but they're all kind of like the back half of all these shops and stuff is like the original like bridge, and basically the bridge has a bunch of squares, I guess you would say, and rooms and stuff. But back in the day, they weren't rooms. It was dark down there, and it was where the homeless lived, basically, because out of sight, out of mind for all the
Mhm,
homeless.
mhm.
And the portion we went into, like, I guess some hoodoo voodoo witchy people thought this is going to be a great space for us to practice our witchy hoodoo voodoo in, and they took up one room. They made their little, had their stuff set up, and every time they came back in to visit, something was destroyed.
Ooh, that's
And they were
creepy.
like, yeah, and they could feel this like weird presence all the time. So they made smack dab in the middle of the room this big stone circle.
Ew.
And yeah, and the person who like owns this section was just like, what do you what's with the stone circle? Cuz like, I mean, they didn't care, but they were just like, are you guys okay? Cuz
Right,
like
what
some
is
people wouldn't even
this?
come. Yeah, cuz some people wouldn't even come back. So if the witchy people are scared, that's bad. And the leader at the time was just like, it there's something in here, and it was, destroying our stuff and bad vibes. And so we trapped it inside the stone circle. So whatever you do, don't disrupt the stone circle. And so we're all standing in this room. If the guy didn't have a flashlight on, it's pitch black. Like, you can't see anything. Like, she even turned the light off for us and stuff. And then she was like, "You're more than welcome to walk through the stone circle." And
Ew.
the entirety, like, my whole group was like, I think me and Christine were the youngest in the group. Everybody else was older, and we all just kind of stood there like, "No, thank you.
No thanks. Hard
We're
pass.
we're good. Yeah,
Ooh,
it's
I would have walked
fine.
through that
We'll
though,
leave it at
maybe.
that."
That'd be kind of fun.
A couple of the guys eventually did like step in it, but one guy like stepped in and basically hopped back out
He's like, nope,
immediately.
nope, 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 nope.
He's like, "No," and then one guy kind of like, nobody walked like straight through the middle. He kind of walked through like right through the top of it, and so it was like two steps into the circle and then back out. But like, it was just so creepy. And before, so that was in like the 70s, I think, but like way back in the day. So Edinburgh was like, one side was for the upper class, royalty and stuff like that, at the top of the hill where the castle is. But at the bottom of the hill, where, all the sewage and everything ran down, was all the homeless people. But they built a university that was like across the valley. And so they were like, well, we don't want to walk through the homeless people. So they built a bridge
To go
and
over
to
them?
avoid all the homeless people, to go over the homeless people. But the way they did their bridge, it had all these little cubbies in it. So they blocked it off because they didn't like the look of it. And it's just how they built their bridges. But all the homeless figured out that they could sleep in there. They
Oh.
could live in there. And nobody would bother them because none of the police ain't going into no pitch black rooms. So you had all of these homeless people, again, pitch black, and they all just like hung around in there, slept in there. It was really gross and really disturbing. And I can't imagine being a homeless person back in the day in Edinburgh because bleh. Um but yeah, so it was so creepy. And I mean, because there was a lot of homeless people. So there's like disease and rats and rotten food and excrement everywhere, and I'm just like, and it's really like the ceiling's really low. So it'd be terrifying to be a homeless person in there.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying.
Yeah. But the tour was really cool. Also, the only reason they discovered all of the cuz was because they built basically apartments on the side of the bridge, and one kid had decided he was going to decorate his apartment. So he went to go hang something up and went to put a nail in the wall and went through the wall because there's nothing behind it. It was just like flat out drywall, and was like, "Oh, there's a really creepy room back here." He threw a party, and the police came and went, that room back there is not documented anywhere, so what is that? And then that's how they ended up like basically digging out the back of each of the businesses and apartments back there and figuring out that it was the tunnels and stuff.
Huh. That's
It was
very
really weird.
that is weird.
But yes, the London Bridge is also haunted. Also very weird.
Yes. There's a piece of it in Lake Havasu. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious though that with the London Bridge in particular, I can't remember who came to visit, but they were like, "I want to buy the London Bridge." And the people of London were like, "Okay, I guess." He was talking about the Tower Bridge, which is the really pretty, very decorative bridge that when you think of London, you think of that. He bought the London Bridge, which is right next to it, which just looks like any other bridge.
Yeah,
There's
it's just
nothing
like
special about it. It's made out of
it's
brick.
just a brick. Yeah, it's just a brick bridge. I don't even like notice it
Yeah.
when I go like into. I'm like, oh yeah, I always forget. I always forget, and then like every time I go to Havasu, I'm always like, why is there so much like UK stuff around here? And then I'm like, oh duh. There's like one of those like
Yeah.
telephone boxes like in the downtown or like in the little area by the water.
Yeah.
And I always get
Yeah.
confused every time I go there, and then I'm like, duh.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. So he's just
stupid.
like, "Oh, we're bringing the London Bridge over," and then they delivered it, and he's like, that's not the because he bought it really cheap. Like they gave it to him really cheap, and he's like, that's not the bridge that I wanted." And they go, "Well, this is the London Bridge," and he goes, "No, no, I wanted the one that was decorative, you know." And they go, "Oh, that's the Tower Bridge," and so he got stuck with the plain old London Bridge, which they rebuilt.
Yeah, apparently there's like pictures. Well, there's supposed we obviously never know, but like there's supposed pictures of like Jack the Ripper on the London Bridge
Mm,
and like yeah, all kinds of spooky things or like yeah, what they supposedly think is Jack the Ripper. And I'm
yeah.
like,
The
"Ew.
world may never know
The
because
world will never
Jack the
know."
Ripper.
Probably not.
Yeah, he just eluded everybody.
I don't even remember what we were talking about before.
We were talking about Universal
Oh yeah.
creepy stories. But also like another tidbit from Edinburgh, we did like a walking tour basically, and where it's actually the meetup spot for the Highland tour that we end up taking, but it's like a courtyard in front of a church, which they're everywhere there. But this one's like dead center in town, and when you're walking through it, it's almost like walking on cobblestones, but it's brick. And I'm like, that's kind of a weird, like, you'd think they'd want it to be smooth in front of the church. Well, when you go through one particular side of the church, it used to be a graveyard. And so, when people died, they put you in the ground. Wonderful. But this is the top of the hill. So Scotland is always rainy. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is, it's raining. Well, because they had so many people moving in from, being trying to be conquered by England and all that mumbo jumbo and lots of war. Every time it rained, the top layer of bodies would resurface, So they had to yeah, so
That's
they had to
gross.
put bricks over the top so that it would stop doing that. And also so people would stop robbing the bodies for medical.
Grave
Yeah,
robbers.
but it was for like medical students. Like med students used to
Yeah.
literally like
Yeah,
boxing ring
they were
for
called grave
yeah, but
robbers.
they would like box and fight each other, tooth and nail for a body to practice on. And I'm like,
Yeah, which was also very
yes.
illegal and very much frowned upon.
Imagine being a med student and you're like, I really need to get a body, and then you literally have to punch out your classmates to get one.
Yeah, or you can just like
Yeah,
hire somebody to
but
like
you're a
get
med
you
student, so
one.
you're poor. So,
Is there any spooky stuff at Universal?
well,
Any
one
other
that I
spooky
keep seeing
stuff?
is about the Twilight Zone, and apparently the one of the actresses was killed on the set. But there was another dude who I guess like kind of predicted his own death because like a year before they started filming, he took out a $5 million life insurance policy on himself. And he told
What
his
the
friends and
heck?
family that he had a premonition that something bad was going to happen on the movie he was about to make. And
That's some like Final
yeah,
Destination
and it
shit.
did. I guess I actually have never seen the Twilight Zone movie, so I couldn't tell you what scene it is, but apparently there's a helicopter involved. But the helicopter crashed and decapitated him.
Oh my god.
And apparently there was also two child actors involved in the accident as well, and unfortunately they also died. But apparently the studio had hired them illegally, and shame on
Oh my
them.
god. Wow, that's crazy. That is some straight up Final Destination shit. Final Destination
I
scarred
think
me
it
for
scarred
life. Those
any
movies.
anybody born in like the 90s or earlier. We're
Honestly,
all
if
scarred.
anybody that grew up watching, which is like my favorite like series of movies cuz it's just like so it's the same movie and it's so dumb and it's just like I don't know, like the
Yeah.
gore movies, but I love them and I will never ever 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 drive behind a log truck
Nope.
because of Final
I will
Destination.
drive around it.
Those are life lessons. Yes, I will. I will do 150 if I have to. Speed past that truck. I will. If the cop pulls me over, I'd be like, "Listen, sir, have you ever seen Final Destination? You think I'm staying behind that truck? Give me a ticket, bet." And then he
Cuz he'd
wouldn't
be
because
like,
he'd be like, "Okay, you know
yeah.
what, girl, you're
My
right."
bad. I see it now.
He'd be like,
Yeah.
"I have seen that. Yeah, yeah."
Okay, so there's one. So the Amityville Horror. So there's the 1979
Oh.
version and the 2005 version, and apparently both had a lot of creepy things happening on them, which is weird.
I think I heard that too, like, with the whole
Yeah,
Amityville
so
Horror,
the first
like
one starred
yeah.
James Brolin and Margot Kidder. Um, and apparently Brolin was just not really super happy about making a scary movie, and the script scared him. But it seems like that was kind of all that happened. But I guess in 2005, which is the one with Ryan Reynolds, just before they started filming, a dead body washed up on shore right next to the movie set.
Ew.
Yeah. And then I guess Ryan and a bunch of other members of the cast and crew would just automatically wake up at 3:15 a.m. like every day.
Which is like demon time. That is literally like demon time. It's like in
Yes,
all the
yeah. So
movies.
that's super creepy.
I heard that the like Amityville Horror, like the
Mhm.
ghost part was like made up like for the people that like moved into that house that like experienced all the
Mhm.
ghost stuff like fabricated most of it just to like, make a little
Yeah.
book or something. I don't know. I saw that on like a TV show. Again, if listen, you can fact check me. I'm probably wrong. Most of my information comes from TikTok, okay? So, and like I don't retain information very well, so like I only remember like bits and pieces of it because I'm dumb. But yeah, the Amityville stuff, like that's crazy. I have that book on my Audible. I just haven't listened to it yet because I'm
Mm.
lazy.
Yeah, and then one which is, at least I consider it recently. It's for the movie The Possession, which was in 2012, um, starring Jeffrey Dean Morgan. For those of you who live under a rock, he's,
Love
well,
him.
yeah, we all love him. He's in The Walking Dead as Negan, and he's
Negan.
also Mr. John Winchester on Supernatural. So he's no stranger to paranormal anything. I mean, he's on a zombie show and a monster show, plus all the other stuff he's done. But apparently,
Yeah,
yeah,
and a medical
for
show.
the movie The Possession, lights kept exploding on set. Chilly breezes would come through the sets, even though they were not outside. And it says the scariest incident occurred when the storage facility, which is where all the props were being held, caught on fire and burned to the ground.
Yikes.
And apparently, again, I have never seen this movie, but the, I'm gonna say, Dybbuk box, that apparently is a big thing in the movie. It says it's a cursed box that attaches itself to a young girl. But that was destroyed in the fire. And the movie producers were like, oh, well, we should like recreate it, so that they can put it, at red carpet events or museums or whatever. And all of the cast and crew went, nope, we're not
Yeah.
doing that. We're not
Heck
rebuilding the
no.
box. Absolutely not.
One and done, baby. We're done with
Yeah.
that.
They're like, it burned down and it burned down for a reason.
Yeah, that is not my problem. That is out of my control. That is out of my hands. Goodbye.
Yes. I do love that in all these articles I pulled up, The Exorcist is always one that comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so was the little girl must have been Ellen Burstyn, because it says apparently there's a alleged curse on the Exorcist movies that could be to blame for her back injury, the death of Jack McGrowan during production, and various technical troubles.
Yeah, what the heck? Ugh. Why do they keep making them if people keep
I
dying?
don't I don't
I mean,
know.
like,
Let me
after the
see.
first one, after that girl broke her back, I'd be like, all right, well, we should probably not do this again. And somebody died and all that. Like, you're making a movie about exorcism and all this crazy stuff is happening. Goodbye.
Yes.
That's like any movie where like people go into like caves. I'm like, what is your problem? Have we not learned anything? Like, I watched it recently, well, at like probably like last year, The Barbarian,
Uh-huh.
which has a great cast. It's very good. It's got like the guy who plays Pennywise. And
Oh,
Justin Long
uh-huh.
is in it. Like
Oh,
it's
that's
got
so
like a
random.
yeah, it's got like a really random cast, but like they're in like an Airbnb and they find like this random underground creepy cave in their Airbnb and they go in it. Have we learned nothing, people? Why
Oh.
would you do that? I'd be like, goodbye. 0 stars. I'm calling the police. Like we have learned nothing over the years.
Ew. Okay, so apparently for the Poltergeist movie, there's a scene where she's like in a pool full of skeletons, and apparently the skeletons were actually real life people skeletons because they
Ew.
were cheaper to get than prop skeletons.
That's disgusting.
I would have spent the extra money for the fake skeletons.
Yeah.
Literally, one of them said bad omens, and I'm like, what about bad omens?
Oh
That's
my
that they meant
god.
like actual bad
The
omens.
band? I love that band. Anytime I hear Omens, I'm like, "Oh, are you guys talking about Bad Omens? I love that band. I will talk about that band."
Yeah. I was talking with somebody the other day, and I had mentioned Good Omens, the show, and they were like, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, Good Omens." And then later we were talking about Bad Omens, and they were like, "The show?" I go, "No, no. Bad Omens
The band.
band, Good Omens TV show." So apparently, I'm just like skimming a BuzzFeed article about creepy behind the scenes stuff,
Mhm.
a lot of things have to do like get struck by lightning.
Yeah,
So like
I was always so scared when I was younger that I was gonna get struck by lightning. Cause like, if you do, it's, like,
yeah.
not like, it's, like, rare, right? Like, how many people get struck by
Yeah.
lightning?
It's super rare to get struck by lightning. It's also super rare to survive it.
Yeah, heck no.
Like,
Ugh,
can you imagine being like saying, "Yeah, I got struck by lightning," and like just being alive?
yeah. You probably have, like, a scar too, like a big old bolt going through you.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's kind of almost like a vein kind of
Mhm.
looking
Like
thing.
a burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, heck no. I am so old. It's, like, literally 8 o'clock, and I'm like, "I am so tired."
Oh, I'm so tired too. I had to
Gr
last night I closed, so I
Ugh.
wasn't home until like 10-ish. And then I still had to edit Pedro Tober because I didn't do it on Sunday like I should have. And then I went to bed.
Yuck.
Luckily the podcast was was easy to edit.
I know somebody died at Six Flags. I know
Really?
that, yeah, somebody went, so the Batman ride, like, their hat had fallen off or something, and they went to go grab it in, like, the restricted area, and, like, the ride came and decapitated them.
Oh. Wow. That's
Yeah.
why you're not supposed to go back there though.
Yeah. That's why you, like, first off, if you it's a hat dog. Second off, if you wanted it that bad, you gotta get a crew member or,
Yeah.
like, a yeah, staff member. But I wonder if Universal's like Disney where they're like, "Oh, nobody's died on our property. We just pronounce them dead off
I
the
don't
property."
I feel like no. But I thought, oh my gosh. Now it's eluding me. I could have swore there was like a famous. Oh, I wanted to look up the Phantom of the Opera story. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently it's stage 28 is what's supposed to be haunted. Okay, so the reason it was in stage 28 is because they needed something big enough for the opera house to build, the inside of the Paris Opera House. And just during construction, or I think right when they started, an electrician fell to his death.
Oh my god.
So they're already starting off with a death. And I guess he fell while he was, because they had a bunch of catwalks above. And so he fell from that. So apparently, the rumors began to circulate that the ghost of a phantom running along the catwalks was seen. And then, of course,
Ooh.
yeah. And then, of course, you get the lights flickering on and off, doors opening and
Ooh.
closing.
That'd be so fun to go, like, watch or, like, go see.
I thought they would.
They should do, like, a tour of that.
They should.
Be like, "Ooh, walk through the haunted, um, soundstage."
Oh, they destroyed it in 2014.
How dare they?
It's probably right where Super Mario World is.
Oh, it probably freaking is. How about you? How much you want to bet? Does that mean Super Mario World's haunted? Oh my god, Toad's
Maybe.
haunted.
Maybe the ghost just moved. But I guess they like full on dismantled the stage though, so
Huh,
like they could
interesting.
rebuild it if they wanted.
The town that I live in, so one of the high schools in the town I live in, um, was built on top of a cemetery, like an
Of
old
course.
cemetery. This used to be like I think it used to be a mining town. I could be wrong. Um,
Probably.
but
Everything out west was a mining
I
town.
mean, yeah. And yeah, so they built like the high school on top of it, just right on top of everybody's grave. Um, and supposedly that high school is like haunted. Zach Bagans also went there too. I just love that man. Zach Bagans, if you're listening, I'm your number one fan. I sent you a DM a couple months ago that said I love you very much. If you could please reply to it because I'm your number one fan. I will go to your museum, I promise.
You could even be on this podcast if you want,
Yeah.
and we can talk
Yeah.
about spooky
Hit
things.
me up. I sent you
Um,
that DM. Just look for it.
Also, if you haven't done an episode on CSU Channel Islands being the old Camarillo Mental Hospital, please, by all means, I will show you around. I'll give you a tour,
I wonder if he
and Casey can
has.
be there.
Dude, that
I feel
man
like
has
he
done
has.
that man has done like 22 seasons. Like that show has been going on for I was like, dude,
Dang.
I was like, how many I'm sure there's a bunch of especially if they're doing like the town I live in, like haunted places. This town nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this man has been doing this for so long and is not going anywhere. Like I should actually look and see if he's done one. Let's see.
You should. Okay, so for back, we're gonna backpedal for a second back to
Sorry, we get off
the
again, real
Universal.
cash here.
Yeah, super cash. This is how we talk when we're actually just like the two of us talking. So, I hope you guys liked my meme that I posted the other day. That it feels like you're just like sitting and having a conversation with us, because that's literally what we want you to feel. Whether that makes you excited or uncomfortable, that's up to you. But as long as you feel like you're in the room. But the haunting of stage 28. So apparently, the ghost that everybody claims to be seeing is the ghost of Lon Chaney, who was in the Phantom of the Opera. He's known for like basically being in every Universal original scary movie. It says reports say the Phantom has been seen running across the studio catwalks, mysteriously holding a chandelier that was removed years ago. Visitors visitors and employees to Stage 28 have long maintained that it's haunted. For years, there have been sightings by electricians, designers, carpenters, art directors, and security guards of a man in a black cape who seems to come and go without warning. Those who have gotten more than just a glimpse of him say it's the cloaked man is Lon Chaney himself.
Spooky.
It's so funny. I would hate to be a security guard in a place like that, because this says security guards who have laughed off the idea of a resident ghost admit to being spooked by lights that turn on and off by themselves and by doors that open and close on the empty stage at night. It has also been reported one can occasionally hear ghostly voices.
Oh my gosh, I want to do like a ghost tour so bad and like go to a bunch of different like haunted places. There's this book I want and it's a haunted road trip
Uh huh.
and there's just different places that like are all haunted supposedly. Around like I know there's places like Jerome, which is in Arizona. I really want to go
Oh,
to.
yeah.
Supposedly really haunted. Also supposedly the Clown Motel, which I've heard like mixed things about. I've heard people like say it's really lame, and I've heard people say it's really cool. But that
Mm
is supposedly haunted. It's also like next to like a cemetery.
hmm.
But I
Oh.
would like love to go there. I think that'd be so fun. So if
Yeah.
anyone
Okay.
wants to take me there for my birthday, I turn 28 on the April 25th. Thank you.
So I have a tidbit. It's not, I mean, it's kind of, it's spooky-esque. It's spooky adjacent. So in the tiny little town outside of LA that I live in, and that Casey used to live near, you never lived here, but
Mm-mm. Close.
one day, I feel like it was probably when I was in college. And I can't remember if it was like the first year I was in college or if it was after that. So like 2012, 2013 s. There's when you're going down the 14 freeway southbound, on the right hand side there's just like this lot, and it's been empty forever. There's nothing there. There's houses built behind this lot, but nothing has ever been on the corner. And so one day, very randomly, I was driving by. I was coming home from the dentist, and there was a bunch of gravestones in this
Ooh,
lot.
I don't like that.
It literally looked like a graveyard. It was a graveyard. There was just headstones everywhere. It was fenced off, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And it was really creepy, because I even at one point like stopped and pulled over and looked at them. Like they had names, and they weren't just blank. Like they had names engraved, and they looked like super old headstones because they were huge and decorative. And I'm like, that's really weird. And nobody knew where it came from. So we were all like, what the heck? And there was this little box on the fence that said, like, please leave a donation and feel free to walk around. I did not walk around, even though it was broad daylight, because snakes, not because it was
Yeah.
creepy.
Also creepy.
It was also creepy, but nobody had mowed the weeds, so I didn't know what was in there. But it turns out that one of the girls I went to high school with, her dad, for whatever reason, there was somebody, I don't know if they like bulldozed over a graveyard or what, but they were trying to like rehome these headstones, and he decided, you know what, I'll take them, I'll put them somewhere. So he owns that corner acre lot, and he just he had all these headstones moved from wherever they came from to the lot and told absolutely nobody. So it just like one day magically appeared. Like, what the heck? And it's still there. I have not gone inside. I should probably do that.
Weird.
Oh, have you watched any of her name is Mikey, but her YouTube channel is Glam and Gore?
Oh
Any of her
yeah, when
like
she like would go to the haunted places.
Yes. Creepy as heck, man. She did one on oh my gosh. Alcatraz,
Ooh, I would
which was
love to go
really
to
cool.
Alcatraz.
See, I still want to go to Alcatraz too. I had one chance to go and we literally missed the boat by like 10 minutes. I was so sad. But Alcatraz would be really cool.
Yeah, that's what I want to
Um,
do. I want to go there.
I also love going to like ghost towns. Those are really cool.
Hmm.
Although the only ghost town I've ever, at least that I remember that I've been to, is Calico. We actually went camping with a bunch of friends up there, but it's so cool to see like the original buildings and stuff. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this episode. Alrighty, well, thank you for joining in on a spooky season. I believe our next episode should be our podcast Out in the Wild Halloween Horror Nights edition. And kind of our overview of that. Casey and I are both very excited. We're going to do Universal beforehand and then do Horror Nights after. So look forward to podcast and vlogs for that. Disney vlogs, by the time this episode goes up, should be up both on my channel and on our
We're working on
TikTok.
it.
One day we'll have it so together, you guys will be like, "What's wrong? What's happening?
Right.
Did you guys
What's
quit your
going on?"
jobs?" And we'll be
Yeah.
like, "No, we just wait. This week our life is together." Unfortunately, until both of us get new jobs, the general holiday season is hectic. So, but yes, so subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Jamie Throws Confetti. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, favorite the podcast, give us a little cheeky 5 stars here. And you can follow us on Instagram at Two Nerds in the Podcast. TikTok is also the same.
Yes.
We have a Facebook page. I have to remember
Yes, all of
everything
it.
we have.
Just all of it.
Just all the socials. We're always Two Nerds in a Podcast, and it has our cute little chibi characters in the little pea pod on everything. Although it will be very flattering if we ever get somebody who wants to be a fake account.
Yeah. Very flattering.
But you'll know it's not us when they consistently upload every day or every week. You'll just be like, nope, fake. So yes, follow us, do all the things, and we will see you guys next week for an even spookier episode. So good.
Yay!
Bye.
Bye.